Continuing our visits with observing what's happening on the Sun and the great filament. As of the 17th of October, the huge split in the Sun's surface appears to be spreading both ways, opening up to a potential 1.2 million kilometres. You can see here the original split, and then up here you can see another one that is forming with, it looks to be roughly the same size as the original one. And in these other positions you can see the beginning of more rifts, and of course these are the sunspots that have already been named, seem to be appearing daily. Now overnight it's now been reported that the original rift has grown to between 600,000 and 700,000 kilometres, and there hasn't been a mention of another also that's 400,000 kilometres long above it to the north, or another to the west. Now Europe is approaching winter, and it is closer to the Sun on January the 3rd or the 4th each year. Each day the Earth moves closer, the tilt of the Earth axis leans away from the Sun. On January the 4th, our Earth made its closest approach to the Sun for the year, an event astronomers call perihelion. At perihelion, the Earth is about 147.5 million kilometres away from the Sun. At the greatest separation, the two are about 152.6 million kilometres apart, which will occur this year on July the 4th. So the Earth is between 147.5 to 152.6 million kilometres distant from the Sun. Now, the difference is 5,100,000 kilometres, and this is 3,168,000 miles. And of course, Lord Jesus Christ in Greek gematria being 800 plus 888 plus 1480 equals 3168. Now, Europe is tilted away from the Sun when closest. And in the lower diagram, Earth is closest to the Sun when Australia is actually tilted away from it on July the 4th. These monster filaments are pointed directly at Europe now. Quoting Revelation 16:9, "And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory." That is the bottom line of what all of this is about. It's the refusal of Rome to give glory and honour to Yahweh. The speed around the Earth orbit varies up to 67,000 miles per hour. Now, on the date of the resurrection on April the 6th, 33 AD, or the same date in time here in Australia, but in Europe, April the 5th, 1943, the Earth was moving at 66,666.6666 miles per hour. The moment of resurrection and conception this time reveals Julian day number 666,666.6666, which was March the 27th, 2888 BC at 6 a.m. The Great Pyramid, which is the altar to the Lord, the foundations were laid on that date. That's when the orbit was 66,666.6666 miles per hour. Now, back in time on that date, here is the Sun and the numbers for it, an absolute magnitude of 4.83 on that date. There it is there. Jupiter and Venus aligning on that date. Now we look to the Sun on that date, since the nuclear fusion rate is the same number as the verse total for the word Lord in the New Testament, 657 verses, and the rate of 657 million tonnes per second of hydrogen converted to helium. That's what it's all about. The Sun tells the story. It's all in the numbers. The Julian day predicted the planets Jupiter and Venus, which foretold the birth of the Lord Jesus in June 17th, 2 BC, and the second coming on April the 6th, 33 AD. And the conception date, April 6, Australia time in 1943. This was the purpose of the structure, the altar to the Lord, the Great Pyramid. Just go back there because I didn't tell you properly. It's...
Stop. Static.